Good morning everyone. In this video I'm going to be analysing the live price action for EU and DXY to see what opportunities there may be today. You're going to see my analysis and my strategy, so if you're interested in those then please stick around. I'm going to start off here on the daily. On the top is EU, on the bottom is DXY. So what's the daily showing us? Well, yesterday we bounced back, closing off as a bullish candle, which means inversely on DXY we closed out bearish. We'll probably see on the lower time frame again the POI that it's obviously mitigated before turning and looking more bullish again, right, to continue what seems to be some sort of bullish trend or price action. DXY still looking bearish after we took the buy side liquidity above this high here. We broke down bearish internally, breaking below this low and this low. We've had this minor pullback, and it does kind of look like we're going to continue breaking down again towards this low here as sell side liquidity, but we'll see how that goes. At the moment that SMC divergence is still in place. We may get further SMC this morning because this low here looks quite close to the price action in comparison to this high versus this high, but we'll see that a lot more cleaner on the lower time frame. So on EU, the previous daily highs and lows are still intact for buy side and sell side liquidity, and on DXY it does look like just now we've mitigated that previous daily low, which may provide some sort of sell side liquidity support around this area, but we'll see how that goes. We're going through the previous daily low as we speak. So let's go down to the 4 hour and see what that looks like exactly. Onto the 4 hour, over the last few days price action's not been exactly fantastic, trending here on the 4 hour. But we do still have our 4 hour bullish leg here from this low to this high. We pulled back, mitigated our 4 hour POI, and we are, despite how the candles are forming, continuing to move bullish from these areas. It's quite corrective, so it is building up some sort of sell side liquidity trend line by the looks of it, but we're bullish for the moment. It is a NFP week and news week, so like I said in my previous videos, sometimes that can affect price in the build up for NFP, so we'll see how that goes when it's announced later on today. The important thing to remember is bullish leg, bearish leg on DXY. We pulled back to a discount, mitigating this POI. We pulled back to a premium, partially mitigating this imbalance here, and then we continued bearish from there, at least for the time being. We've taken our previous daily low, as you can see, and we're continuing possibly bullish here on EU as well. Just to make sure I'm covering the bases, this SMC divergence obviously indicated some weakness, so from that area you can clearly see we did pull back down from, so it might have just been temporary. So I'm just going to zoom out for the moment. I was asked in a comment yesterday to just explain what I meant by weak highs and weak lows, so I'll just quickly get into explaining that a bit further. So if I go back to our previous bullish leg, this low here to this high here, right? So that was a bullish leg. When we pulled back and we mitigated this 4 hour POI, we then rejected it. That starts to signal that yes, this is a weak high. We're in a bullish leg, so it's with the trend, right? We expect the low to hold, but there's no guarantee. So once we see the change of order flow, especially from that area, so once we mitigated this, we made this high, we pulled back within this price action leg here, pulled back, mitigated its 4 hour POI, I made a new higher high. So for me, this would confirm we're most likely in a weak high scenario, because the low was respected as a strong low and now the price action switched. So obviously it doesn't have to happen on its same time frame. We can get that indication on a lower time frame because pricing is fractal, but imagine this is the 1 hour, this is a 4 hour leg, we've pulled back to this 4 hour POI, and then the 1 hour started making new higher highs and higher lows before the 4 hour did. It kind of indicates, okay, that's been respected as the strong low and that the trend is going to continue, and this would be a weak high as like a buy side liquidity point. And then into the closer price action again. Now we've got this new bullish leg, we've pulled back down to our discount to a 4 hour POI and we've rejected that. So once we go down to the 1 hour, if we started to make those new bullish higher highs and higher lows, this again becomes a weak high, right? And it's the same when you go to the 1 hour and 15-minute switches, we expect the same order flow. So that's what we mean by weak highs and weak lows. So I'll continue that on the 1 hour, but let's go down to there and see what that shows. So here on the 1 hour, here's that bullish leg where we're in. Again, we pulled back down, mitigated this 4 hour POI, and then we made a new bullish leg breaking above this high, right? So that makes this a weak high. It may not play out, but that's the indication we get from that switch of order flow, because the lows held and the time frame below this leg and within this leg internally, we have started to break and make higher highs, right? That's the price action we're starting to see and the structure we're starting to see. So price then pulls up, pulls down to a discount, respects this discount, makes a new higher high. All right, so these become weak highs and strong lows, and ultimately this is internal price action. So because it's internal, this is our external leg. If the internal is bullish, then this external leg, the high, is a weak high. So I hope that was clear and I hope that was helpful. So if this is our 1 hour leg and we pull back to a 1 hour POI in the discount, and then the M15 starts making that bullish switch with higher highs and high lows, that's our early signal to go bullish toward our weak high on the hourly with that trend. Okay, that's why we don't just, well, at least for a day trader, I'm not just gonna set my order at a 1 hour order block. I'll let that M15 switch, and then I can continue with that trend bias possibly for the rest of the week towards that R week high after taking sell side liquidity, etc. So I don't want to overcomplicate it, but I hope I've explained the concept of weak highs and strong lows and weak lows and strong highs. It would just be the opposite way around. So now back into the hourly. You can see now on the DXY we've got our lower high and lower low price action coming in. We have now taken properly this previous daily low, sell side liquidity. We aren't having any pullback from here, no momentum from here or anything like that. So at the moment we still look pretty bearish. It looks like we are probably likely to take this low out very soon, which would introduce some more SMC divergence, because that would correspond to this high on EU. So if EU's high is up here and it creates a lower high, that indicates some weakness on EU because the correlation is broken and it hasn't made that high. So then this low being taken out will be seen as sell side liquidity to sponsor a bullish move on DXY. Doesn't mean it's going to break this high here, but just a bullish move, possibly causing some sort of pullback or momentum. So we'll see how that goes. For me, this is still the weak high, and we'll discuss any opportunity that may come from the SMC divergence or the sell side liquidity around here on the lower time frame. The 1 hour price action, if I concentrate on these legs, it's a bit less clear here because these are like news wicks, but it's still a high low, high high. Price just looks like it's sort of correctively pulling up towards this high here for buy side liquidity at the previous daily high, while DXY looks like it's going to take out sell side liquidity lows. Now above this high is a 1 hour order block, which is all the way from last week. This may cause some resistance. We may see that resistance here at the previous daily high, which causes some sort of bearish price action back down to a discount, or a discount even of this leg. But I still expect this as a weak high at the moment, but this to be possible resistance, and this buy side liquidity to obviously provide possible resistance and sponsor a move lower. Those are good confluences because at the same time, of course, we'll have introduced SMC divergence once this low goes, especially. So sell side liquidity, buy side liquidity, possible POI, and now those two will come together to give us possible bias for shorts. And along with that, we are also in a premium of the external leg and the internal leg as well. So those are good factors there. Remember, of course, we had this area here unmitigated, so possible deeper pullback maybe if a pullback occurs back up into this area. Don't want to predict the future too much, but for the immediate time being, I would say we're bullish trend in a bullish leg. However, I'm expecting possible reversal price action around these areas. So my bias for the session would be to trade short, because I don't want to trade long after buy side liquidity is taken and sell side liquidity is taken on DXY. So let's go down to the M15 and see what opportunities for today look like. Okay, so like I said on a higher time frame, we are in a premium of both the internal and external leg. We've taken or mitigated sell side liquidity on DXY. We may take further sell side liquidity because of those other previous lows there and introduce some SMC divergence. That would indicate a weak EU. Now we've already got some SMC divergence, of course, around this area. If we was to use this price action here with this low to this low and this high to this high here, right? They're both going the same direction. We haven't made a higher high yet where we've made that lower low. So that could indicate some bullish strength from this sell side liquidity here on DXY. Now that's not a factor that I just trade from, but it's a factor we can stack on top. Right, so we have now taken the buy side liquidity above Asia. So that's been mitigated. We're having some sort of bearish reaction from there. We'll see how that goes though. There's obviously more buy side liquidity above previous daily high and this order block here. So with that said, in terms of opportunities, I'll just be looking for shorts, but they could happen from maybe 2 or 3 areas. So let me draw it out and we could apply it to all 3 zones pretty much. So let's pretend price breaks down from here. So if price breaks down, we've got a break of structure below this low here. We've swept buy side liquidity above this high here, which has caused momentum and a breakdown. And then we could assume we may get a corrective pullback to our lower time frame order block with an imbalance to continue lower to a discount. Now that would be previous daily low and maybe previous low sell side liquidity from DXY, and that causes DXY to do the same thing, break above that high and pull back to a POI to continue higher. We have a nice trend line liquidity lows here to aim for, back down to this discount where there's order block with imbalance, right? Partially mitigated, but this could be some inducement for price to reverse at this area. So I'll briefly draw out the inducement we could have around this area here, break of structure around this area here, lower time frame order block with imbalance possibly around here, with our order set here, stop loss just above the highs, and we trade down towards a discount. So that's what that would look like after taking this buy side liquidity and this sell side liquidity with SMC divergence sponsoring a move higher to a premium on DXY. Now, like I said, this may not be enough. We could come up, sweep this high again and break down. All of those scenarios can happen. So let me just move this. Let's say if price was to pull up more correctively here now from this area, go and take these highs, we get another break of structure somewhere around here from the buy side liquidity taken above previous daily high, break down, pull back to this area here to sponsor that move to take out sell side liquidity lows down to a discount. So I hope that's clear, because that does seem very possible after these previous daily highs are taken above here. I do expect some of this price action to happen because I know we do have sell side liquidity not far below this low again, and this would be a nice area to trade from, breaking this weak internal high, sweeping this buy side liquidity to go lower. And then obviously the third place that I mentioned would be up here, right? If we do come into the 1 hour order block, taking the buy side liquidity above these highs here and then breaking down from there. So I think I've spoken enough today. That's the opportunities I see. I hope you gained value from that. Any questions, let me know in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys soon.